Hello.
Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Stephanie Anduri.
I'm Dr. Graham Anduri, and we're here today to talk about finding your why. Why do you do what you do as a musician, as an artist, as a human being? And why is it important to have an understanding of why you do what you do?
Yeah, you guys, we are in this world where society sort of has an idea about us that we are extracurricular, that we are the specials, that we are enrichment. We are not part of the foundation of what is taught in schools anymore. We are not part of what people see as really crucial to life and to society and to the workings of the world. And that is so, so far from the truth. And it's so crucial for us as musicians to keep our why at the center of what we do.
We ask everybody that we work with. Whenever we do workshops and classes and whatever we do, the first thing we ask everybody is, why do you sing? Or if you're a teacher, why do you teach? And if you don't have a clear understanding of why you're doing that, it can be really hard to keep going when things get fuzzy, when things get difficult, when people question why you do what you do. And if you don't have a good answer for it, then it can be really easy to fall by the wayside and kind of fall into the trap of thinking, well, what I do is not really that important. What I do doesn't have that much value. What I do is ancillary. It's one of specials. It's one of those things that gets cut when the budgets get tight in a school district. And we've got it all backwards. Music, the arts, and the humanities are things that are fundamental to who we are as humans. That's why they're called the humanities. There are theories that say that we started singing as a species. We started to sing before we had the capacity for language, for speech. There's no proof of that, obviously, but I think that's absolutely true. It is so fundamental to how we communicate our core emotions. We say that music is a universal language because we can sing to each other in another language. And even though we don't understand the words, we understand the feelings. So we do what we do because we want to make the world a better place. And we know that music can do that.
Absolutely. It helps us to connect with one another and to recognize the humanity in people who are potentially so different from us, right? We divide ourselves into these sort of tribes of these are my people and these are not my people. And singing together, our voices remind us of the shared humanity that we have with people who don't experience the world in the same way. They can be from different cultural backgrounds or religious backgrounds or socioeconomic groups or sexualities or really any number of things. They could have voted differently than we did. And none of that matters when we begin singing together because it reminds us that we are part of the same species, that we are experiencing things through the same sort of lens.
Right. So if you're watching right now, or if you're watching this replay, even, we want to know, why do you sing? Why do you teach? Why do you do music? Why do you do what you do? So go ahead and post in the comments right now. I'm going to put in the comment and go ahead and tell us why you do what you do. Because everybody can have a different answer to this. There's not one right answer, but we want to know what your thoughts are on this.
I will say, though, if you're answering this question, dig deeper than just it's the only thing I really love or it's the only thing I was called to do.
It's the only thing I know that I'm good at.
Absolutely.
We get that a lot, and that may be true, but there's more to it than that. And I think if you dig into why you got called to be a musician, you'll find that there's more to your answer than just because it's the only thing that I'm good at.
Absolutely.
So why is it important to have a sense of why?
Yeah. And why is it important to be able to advocate for the arts? Why is it crucial for us to advocate for our students being able to learn music, to be in choir in schools? What does music do? How does music support us as people so that we are better if we are singing? What does it contribute to our education as we are growing up?
So, like we said, it's really important to have that core sense of motivation that keeps you going when things get tough, that keeps you going when you're not quite sure, what did I choose? Why did I choose to become a musician? Why did I choose to be a performer? Why did I choose to be a teacher? Sometimes it's easy to forget those things when life happens, the world is, seemingly on fire at all times these days. What is the purpose of music in our lives? If you have a clear sense of why, then you have this sense of purpose in your life. You have a sense of, I have something to offer the world that is important. I have something that people can benefit from, that can help people improve their lives, and that I can improve my life with. And most of us as musicians don't just do one thing. We're not just performers, and we're not just teachers. We have multiple things that we do. We can teach, we can perform, we might have another job entirely that is, maybe it's arts related, maybe it's not. Maybe we are, administrators of some organization, or maybe we, we are entrepreneurs, we're directors, we're this, that, or the other. And if we have this core sense of what drives you, then all of those things work together. All of those things contribute to one another. Your teaching improves your singing. Your singing improves your teaching. Your entrepreneurship or your business or whatever it is that you do is going to be bolstered by that core sense of purpose, by that kind of guiding principle.
And recognizing that singing and that teaching voice and that using our voices is so much more important than just the sounds that we're creating. We hear all the time from teachers that they are so passionate about teaching, which is beautiful. And we are too. It's the best. It's like one of the most fulfilling parts of our lives that we get to teach voice. But when we ask them why, they say, because I pull really good sounds out of my students. Well, what does that do? Why do good sounds matter more than bad sounds? And who's placing moral judgment on sounds? Why are some sounds good and some sounds bad? Don't they just communicate something? Don't they share something with us? Whether they are aesthetically pleasing or not, they can still be good sounds. There's no morality in the sounds that you are making.
Exactly. The thing is, music conveys emotion. When we are performing, we're not there to present our voices. As we found this quote from Thomas Hampson. He says, "We don't present our voices to the audience; we resonate our souls." And so we are communicating an emotional message. We are telling stories to our audience and getting them to understand themselves at a deeper level, and getting them to understand somebody else at a deeper level. We're learning how to increase our emotional awareness and our emotional intelligence, so that we learn that there are more emotions to experience than just mad, sad, bad, glad. There are way more things out there that are part of the human experience, and you don't know that until you experience it. You don't have those emotions ingrained within you, and the neuroscience is there to back this up. The emotions that we experience are not born within us. We have to experience them in context to have an idea of what a certain emotion is. And music is one of the most effective ways that we can experience new emotions that we've never felt before. Even if we don't have that life experience, the musical experience, like a perfect example that I use all the time is, I talk about when I went to go see her sing Suor Angelica. And I was in college, and I felt like all of a sudden I was a mother who had lost her child, which obviously I was not. I have never been. But I had that emotional experience all of a sudden with something that I had never felt before. I was experiencing new emotions that I had never experienced. And that increased my emotional awareness, my emotional granularity. It's so crucial that we are able to do this for ourselves, but also for the people in the audience, because if we can communicate the way that we feel effectively, then we can resolve conflicts peacefully. When we don't know how to when we don't know how to communicate what we feel, we just know that we feel bad, then we get frustrated, we get angry, we lash out, we yell, we scream, we hit somebody, we go get a gun in the worst case scenario. And all too often over the past, several decades in the United States, we have seen mass shooting after mass shooting and gun violence situation after gun violence situation. And it just keeps happening. And we've been saying all along, the cure to violence is not, we have to legislate some things. There's no question about that. We need to make some rules that are put into place to keep people safe. But to solve the core of the problem, we have to go beyond just addressing the symptoms of it. We have to address people at the core of who they are and how they experience their life, how they experience their emotions, how they communicate their emotions. And music is the most powerful way that we can do that.
Absolutely. Like, let alone that when we sing with other people, we are creating connections with them. Our bodies release hormones that make us feel bonded. The same hormones, oxytocin, that our bodies create when we have children or when we have sex with someone. They are the bonding hormones. And when we create a situation where we are bonded, where we are vulnerable with one another, then there isn't the same sort of dissonance that we create. I mean, maybe musical dissonance, but there isn't the same sort of separation that we create between ourselves and the people around us. And we can recognize the humanity within them. And then we don't feel compelled to hurt them or to be separate from them.
Right. There is another quote that we use a lot that Paul Hindemith was a composer in the 20th century. And he said, you can't be enemies with somebody that you're making music with as long as the music lasts. And so we imagine if we could all make music together. Imagine if Congress sang together before each legislative session, what that would do for the cohesiveness of a nation or of a parliament or whatever government you have in your country. Imagine if they sang together before they started making laws and arguing back and forth. Imagine what that would do to the culture of each nation, to the culture of our world.
Right. When you create harmony with the people around you, you recognize that the conflicts that come to you are not you against each other trying to solve this conflict, but it is the body of you, the group of you against the conflict. And you have created the harmony that will allow you to approach every conflict in a way that it will be resolved with kindness and with compassion rather than with tribalism and against ism.
Right. And so Lisa Campbell said, I sing to express myself. I sing to share emotions with other people and to connect with them, to take people on a journey with you.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
So beautiful, Lisa. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you talk about to take people on a journey with you. You talk about creating a holograph.
Yes, absolutely. So when we're on stage, the difference between, you can sing focused inward on your mechanical technique and on preserving your own confidence and all of these things. And it becomes like a gulf between you and your audience. There's just this space in the stage, this no man's land that is, you sort of imagine that it's this space where the battle is going to take place, right? Like my audience is going to come after me with pitchforks if I mess anything up. So I'm on my side of this hollow space and they're on the other side. And the flip side of that is if you're creating a shared reality, if you're telling a story so vividly and so honestly and so authentically and with so much empathy that it sort of unfolds before you, then you're inviting your audience into a hologram. This space that was a separation is now a shared world for you to join together and to experience something new with your audience.
Absolutely. So our job as singers, our job as teachers, as voice teachers, as music teachers, as musicians, as artists, as humans, is not just to make pretty sound. It's not to just make the sounds that we're supposed to make at the right time, on the right pitch, with the right words. That's all important. Those things should happen, obviously, but that's not the reason we do what we do. We're not there to just distract people with our pretty sounds. We're not there to entertain people so that they forget about their problems for a little bit and then go back to their problems. And that's often how it's painted. That's often what it's painted to mean to be a musician is
you're an entertainer.
You're an entertainer. We are part of the entertainment industry. And so you just make people forget things for a little bit so that they can feel better about their lives and then go back to the stress of their lives. It can do that. And sometimes that there is a very real role for music and for art to serve that purpose.
Yes.
But it goes so much deeper than that. It has so much more power to change people's lives, to stir people's emotions, to change their minds, to change their hearts.
Really, to make the world a better place.
We exist here to be change makers. We see that there are things in the world that are not the way that they should be. And we have the power to make changes in ourselves first, so that we can inspire change in other people, in our communities, in our culture, in society, in the world at large, to change those things, to fix those things, to make the world more kind and caring and compassionate and empathetic, so that we reach for understanding rather than for violence, so that we reach for connection rather than division, and we reach for love instead of fear. Music has the power to do that. And we as musicians, if we know that we have that power, we have then the responsibility to make everything that we do in our lives, in our careers, move towards that central focus, move towards that why, move towards that guiding principle. And so that's why we sing. That's why we do music. That's why we do what we do.
We sing to save the world. We've said it a million times, and we'll keep saying it.
Absolutely. So again, if you're watching the replay, we want to know why you sing. We want to know what you want to do with your voice, what you feel like you are able to do with your voice, what you want to do with your voice. And if you want help to see how you can take that to the next level, how you can really become an inspired, empowered, transformative change maker with your voice, with your music, with your teaching, then shoot us a message. Let's have a conversation. Let's see what we can do to help you achieve that at a higher level than what you even know is possible, because the possibilities are limitless.
Yes. Have a great day, guys. Happy singing.
All right.